I think the most patriotic thing you can do right now is be critical of the United States of America. And I don't mean be critical of Democrats or Republicans. I mean of the hubris and overreach globally of the country you're a part of. What I want to talk about a little bit more, though, is this Durham report. Now, we're not getting into the politics of this. It's been relatively evident for a long time that this Russia-Trump collusion thing was absolutely absurd. Made no sense, wasn't real, was manufactured, was a bunch of lies. Right? I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but here Matt Taibbi says, the same culture that celebrates the bugging of the Watergate as the archetypal corruption story won't blink at the portrait of political spying painted in the Durham report. Now, a lot of people saying that the Durham report is just a wet fart and doesn't say anything, but you know, those people watch Rachel Maddow, and she's been talking about this shit for 3 years and lying to her audience and disrespecting her audience by manufacturing bullshit. So the question is, what does this mean for you? Right? Because that's what we all actually give a f- about. What does this mean for you? So I want to just put some things out there. The response to 9/11 was objectively worse than 9/11. What we did in the Middle East following 9/11, right, that we have to take responsibility for as Americans, honestly, is 9/11 times 10, 100. Like, it's absurd to innocent people, just as innocent as the people who were in the World Trade Center that day. On top of spending $6 trillion for what? So the Taliban could win. The response to 9/11, right? Also going to Iran or Iraq and Afghanistan when the hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. None of this makes any sense. The response to 9/11 was worse than 9/11. The response to COVID was worse than COVID. Not going to get into any more of that because it'll get me shadow banned and all these other things, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. The response to Donald Trump was worse than Donald Trump. I'm not a Donald Trump fan. You guys know that. I also don't think that he's the next Hitler. And neither was Saddam Hussein. And neither was Osama bin Laden. Neither of these people that Khashoggi. None of these people were actually what we said they were. We funded these people and gave them weapons, right? And even the same thing. If the Democrats thought that Trump was the next Hitler, then why did they increase the military budget while he was president, right? And didn't try to do anything to try to curtail the powers of the executive branch? Because it was theater. The response was worse. It degraded trust in institutions, right? It made us hate each other. The response was worse than anything Trump actually did, which was basically normal Republican shit and mean tweets. So who cares, right? The response was worse. So what does that say for us, right? For me and you, normal, everyday people, right? Well, I think what it says is that you shouldn't be reliant on the whims, right? And be manipulated by the incentives of centralized authority. Because it seems that they're operating in a different reality than we are, right? You want to put food on the table, you want to save a little money, you want to have a good time, you want to live a good life. Maybe that's what they want to do too, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems that there's a handful of people that get off on telling you what and how to think. I think that's wildly inappropriate. But if we look at this whole thing, this whole gestalt here, it's quite absurd to believe a fucking thing these people say, right? These are the same organizations that have been all but proven to have killed the president of the United States. It's insane. And nobody outside of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has anything to say about it when it comes to curtailing their powers. Right now, the GOP still wants to give the Pentagon more money as if we're at war. Now, we're in a proxy war. That's absurd for a sliver of Ukraine, which makes no sense in the world. But hey, neither did Iraq and Afghanistan. But here we are. And so I think about this and I'm like, what? What does this say? And how do we live? You know, like this is because this stuff matters. This is where our tax money is going. We're kind of responsible for some of this shit. And we need to take responsibility for it too. And I don't think the response to this should be more patriotism. So it's strange. It's like a strange situation to be in, to find yourself here where like, this is our country. But as long as I've been alive, this is what our country has been. And then you want me to be patriotic over a fictionalized history? Like, I don't understand it. Why would we have any allegiance to this in any way? Right? Like with the number of atrocities from the assassination of JFK forward, Vietnam, Cambodia, and on to where we are now, those things were done under the American flag. The expansion of NATO, like instigating other wars, regime change, coups, these were done under the banner of the American flag. And so, excuse me if I feel a little conflicted about overt patriotism. Like, yeah, what the founding fathers were about was great for the most part. Let's not get too carried away here because there was some weird shit that was going on there too. But a lot of things start off with good intentions and end up being tyrannical. And it's hard for me not to think of the United States as a tyrannical force on the globe. It seems at this point like we'd rather burn the motherfucker down than have a multipolar society globally, which is odd to me. But what does that mean for us? I keep coming back to this. What does it mean for us? And I think the response is just to not give a f-. Like, it's as weird as it is. Like, you got to keep a tabs on what's going on, but damn, how? And I think that even comes, like, part of that is taking off this veil of patriotism. I think the most patriotic thing you can do right now is be critical of the United States of America. And I don't mean be critical of Democrats or Republicans. I mean of the hubris and overreach globally of the country you're a part of. It's not the greatest country in the world. It's not the best country in the world. Those are facts. I know that Charlie Kirk will be upset to hear that, but it's not. It's an amazing place and could be much better and could be an absolute leader on the global stage. But due to our hubris, people have zero respect for us. People are running away from the dollar. And we've created more war than peace. And if that's the country that you want to be proud of, then okay. But don't blame me for not. Do not blame me for not. I don't know. It conflicts me, man. It conflicts me. I keep thinking about that. I'm like, this is just a shit show. I mean, what happened with Trump? What happened with Bernie Sanders? Just in the past handful of years, like it's. I don't understand how the Democratic Party has a foot to stand on when it comes to democracy, when they don't even allow democracy in their own political party. You think they're gonna be the arbiters of that nationally? No, it's absurd. I think half the country's white supremacists. You know, and then on the other side, we're gonna get into this. The Republicans think half the country is demonic, and people like J.P. Sears are out here saying that if you don't believe in God, his God, not any God, not God, but Christian God, white beard God, then you're evil. So we have this guy telling people to hate their neighbors. Why is that? Who wins there? So maybe what it is, what we need to do is not give a f-, right? It's to be really selective with the fucks that we give. Right? I give a fuck about my neighbors. My neighbors over here across the drainage, right? Erica and Rob, great people. Could not be further apart politically from what I'm assuming, right? Could not have different views. Love them to death. Love them to death. I like my neighbors that I disagree with politically. And I'm not going to tell anybody in the world to feel any different way about their literal neighbors or their family. You should be able to have a good time with it. So maybe we just got to have a lot of discernment on where our go. Maybe that isn't Outrage at Target or Bud Light. I don't know.